12-2, slope of a line. Slope is always a number, except in one case when it's undefined, but most of the time it's a number. Slope can be found by looking at the line on the graph. Slope can be found from two ordered pairs. So slope is very important. Look at these two graphs. Without even knowing the specifics of the graphs, I can tell that the first graph, the slope is a positive number. When the graph is slanting in that direction, slope is positive. So my slope is a positive number. On the second graph, my slope will be a negative number. I can tell just from looking at the way the line is. Every line that is slanted in this direction, no matter what the line is, those are all positive numbers for their slope. Every line that is slanted this way has a negative number. Slope actually means the steepness or the slant of the line. Horizontal lines have a slope of 0. Every time you see a horizontal line, it's flat. It's not going anywhere. It has a slope of 0. 0 represents the slope of a horizontal line. Vertical lines have no slope, or they're undefined. Their slope is undefined. They don't have any slope. No slope. Or you could say they're undefined, because it's not really sloping. It's straight up and down, if that makes sense. Slope is really the change that's happening in the y values, that's the top number of slope, over the change that's happening in the x values. Slope can always be written as a fraction. If slope was the whole number 6, for instance, you would write it as 6 over 1. You always want slope in fraction form. It's okay to have a whole number because you know you can put it over 1. So slope is how much up or down, the rise or fall of something over the side to side, the run. The change in y values over the change in x values. The rise over run. Let's see what this means. Okay, let's find the slope of these three lines using the graph. Okay, let's start with the green line. Look at the green line. What we need to find on the green line are two for sure points. Okay, and keep in mind that it's hard for me to draw lines on the tablet. It's quite interesting actually. There's a lot of retries. But anyway, the green line, we need to find some actual points where the line crosses the crisscross. So this one right here looks like a pretty good point. If I can get my thing to draw, let's use this point. Okay, and then right down here there's a point where it crosses. So we're going to use those 2 points. That's what you have to do first when you're using a graph to find slope. Now, the next thing you do is you start at the very bottom point and you're going to count up until you get on the same line that your other point is on. Notice this point is on this line. So we're going to count up till we get to that line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It takes us 10 to go up. So remember, slope is the change in y. How much did the y-axis change? How much did we go up or down from one point to the next? That's rise, or sometimes it's fall, but it's always the change in y, and it's the top number of the slope. So that's 10. Then to find the other number, the bottom number of slope, you count over to see how far you went from here to here. Wait a minute. from here to here. We want to count that now. So that's 1, 2, 3. This is 3, the line. 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7. So the slope of the green line is 10 over 7. It's completely okay for it to be an improper fraction. You leave it just like that. That's the slope. Okay? Now let's do the blue line. Oh, by the way, I already knew the green line was going to have a positive slope because it's got a positive slant. And when I look at the blue line, I'm already saying to myself, oh, this is going to be a negative slope because it has a negative slant. So again, to find the slope on the blue line, I need to find 2 clear points that I know for sure are crossed by the line. So here's my first one, right here. They don't have to be close together. I mean, far apart. They could be close together. And look, this one. It's totally crossing right, not that one. Oh, this one. Totally crossing right there. So I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till I get to that line. Okay, so my top number is 5. And then I'm going to go over from right there to right there. It's only 1, but look, it's going in a negative direction. So, see, from here to here is negative. I went up and over. Rise over run. Or fall over run. You're going to have rise a lot if you start at the bottom point. That's why I like to start here. Okay, you could have started here and fall and ran. But it's better to rise and run in my mind. Start at the bottom, go towards the top. So that's going to be -1. That's where the negative is coming from because I moved in a negative direction. So negative, you can put it out here, you don't have to put it with a 1, -1. Now, since that reduces to a whole number, it's okay to go ahead and say the slope is -5. Because if we need a 1 under it, we can put it back. So far the green line, the slope is 10, 7, and the blue line, the slope is -5. When it comes to the red line, I don't have to pick points. I don't have to go rise over run. I look at that red line and I say, oh, that's a horizontal line. That means the slope is 0. The slope of the red line is 0. Every horizontal line, the slope is 0. Now, there's another way to find slope besides looking at a graph. You can use the slope formula. And this formula needs to be memorized. I don't make you do a lot of memory work, but this needs to stick in your head. It's not hard. There's some interesting things about it. For instance, M, anytime we use the letter M in the graphing, it's always slope. M means slope. M is slope. Okay? The X's and the Y's refer to 2 parts of an ordered pair, the X part and the Y part. But notice they're kind of weird. We have Y with a little 2 down at the bottom, and Y with a 1 down at the bottom, and X the same way. The way you actually read that is Y sub 2 minus Y sub 1 over X sub 2 minus X sub 1. But lots of people shorten it to y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. That's fine. What it means is we have 2 points. We have 2 ordered pairs. We're going to actually use 2 ordered pairs when you have this formula. So for instance, if you had the ordered pairs 5, 3 and 7, -1, you have 2 sets. So you have to have a way in the formula to show which X they're talking about, because this is X, right? And this is X. So which X? And this is Y. And this is Y. So which Y? So what you actually do is you sort of label your points and you go, oh, X sub 1, Y sub 1, X sub 2, Y sub 2. What it really means is like the first X and the second X and the first Y and the second Y. And that way you can keep it all straight and not mess it up in the formula. So we're actually going to use this formula a lot, so you need to memorize it. Okay, let's see how the formula works. There's the formula at the top. Here's two ordered pairs. You always have to have two ordered pairs to find the slope, which is m, using this formula. So, the first thing you do in order to use the formula is go ahead and label your points. There are many of you who will try not to ever label any of the points, and you will get the numbers mixed up in your head and put them wrong in the formula and get the wrong answer. Label your points, trust me. So I'm going to go x1, y1, x2, y2. My points are labeled. Now I'm going to put these numbers into the formula in the places they go. So m equals y2, which is 1, minus y1, which is 0, over x2, which is negative 5, minus 3, which is x1. Then I'm going to do the math. 1 minus 0, well, that's 1. Negative 5 minus 3, that's negative 8. So m equals negative 1/8. That's our slope. Easy. Okay, here's another one. There's our formula. There's our points. Step 1, label the points. x1, y1, x2, y2. Then plug them into the formula. So 4 minus y sub 1, which is negative 3. 4 minus negative 3. Over x sub 2, which is negative 2, minus negative 4. Well, 4 minus negative 3 is 7 because that's plus a positive. And negative 2 minus negative 4 is 2 because that's actually positive. Right, that goes positive 2. That will not make a plus sign. That makes 2, so 7 over 2. The slope is 7 over 2 for these two ordered pairs on this line. Okay, here's part 1 of video homework. Use the formula, find the slope. Okay, part 2 of video homework. This is the last part. Have a lovely evening.